For Fusion Beats, get your ticket now. Standard tickets $20, VIP $50. Tickets available from the Rainbow Towers Hotel, New Ambassador Hotel, and Med Orange Pharmacies in Harare. No tickets will be sold on the day of the show.
Enjoy real value online with TM Pick and Pay Click and Collect. It's time for the news.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on tonight's Sunday edition. We're coming to you live from our Pockets Hill studios right here in the capital city, Harare. My name is Joyce Mabika. Noble Maungwa is on sign language. And I am Yvonne Mukondani. Arthur Evans will join us from Montrose with part of the bulletin. But for now, let's take a look at the stories that we are leading with. President Emmerson Mnangagwa back home after productive engagements in Korea and Russia. In our look at I'm an African, we celebrate one of the female African writers from Nigeria. Our reporter John Nandara traces the history of Buchi Emecheta, who has at least 20 publications to her name. In our This and That feature, we get to know more about the busiest day of the month in as far as vendors in Chipinge district and beyond are concerned. Zimbabwean athletes impress at the Comrades Marathon in South Africa. We will give you that and more in our sports buzz. But first up, the main news. President Emmerson Mnangagwa rounded up his visit to Russia this Saturday, affirming brand Zimbabwe is being received positively on the global stage. Josephine Mugio reports.
The president was in St. Petersburg, Russia from the 6th to the 8th of June, during which he attended the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, among other engagements. President Mnangagwa also shared the stage with the host President Vladimir Putin at the main plenary session attended by top business people from Russia and beyond. As he rounded up his visit to the European country, President Mnangagwa spoke to ZBC News on a wide range of issues relating to Harare-Moscow ties.
First and foremost, the opportunity to have a long chat, one-on-one, with my dear brother, President Putin, crowned my visit. The rest of other activities that have happened just buttress what we discussed one-on-one on our vision of our cooperation.
The head of state also highlighted that Zimbabwe's foreign policy, which is premised on development, is being received positively.
We don't see any serious opposition to Zimbabwe's foreign policy. We believe that our foreign policy is genuine, is focused, is developmental. It offends nobody except those who are against development.
With the Southern Africa region affected by power shortages, efforts are being made to address this challenge. Zimbabwe has since increased power supply through projects such as the Hwange Thermal Power Station Expansion Project, which was commissioned last year. The country is also pursuing possible areas of cooperation with Russia to further boost Zimbabwe's energy supply, which formed a part of his discussion with President Putin.
President Putin mentioned some form of power generation, which they have here on units. I'm more technical. So our Minister of Energy and the Minister of Science and Technology will come and discuss that matter further. I felt that it was an opportunity for us to embrace what they have here.
Zimbabwe's positive growth trajectory was also under the spotlight, despite the imposition of illegal sanctions by the United States and its Western allies.
Well, I'm happy that you recognize that Africa is standing up. Africa has the resources to be independent, to modernize, to mechanize, it has not resources. What it needs are skills and the global capital to assist it to leapfrog its modernization and economic growth. Several African countries are, of course, developing at a different pace, but at the end of the day, you can see that Africa is not a sleeping giant anymore. It is rising up. It will roar as a lion in the small states without spine who get afraid. I think that sanctions were intended to stifle our economic development. On the contrary, because of sanctions, we are more focused on our domestic resources to grow our economy and modernize our economy. And we are doing better in the entire region in our economic growth year by year.
The president rounded off his visit with a tour of HeliDrive Helicopter Company, which provides air medical services in Russia. This comes at a time when Zimbabwe is looking at setting up an efficient air ambulance service. The country has 18 helicopters, which provide air medical services, among other operations, sourced from the Russian Federation. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, St. Petersburg.
Meanwhile, President Emmerson Mnangagwa is back from Russia, where he attended the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa touched down at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport this Sunday after his engagements in Korea and Russia. The president said he had fruitful engagements with the president of Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, which turned out to be an opportunity to consolidate existing ties and identify new areas of cooperation. He said this when he addressed ZANU-PF supporters at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport.
Korea, South Korea, Africa, South Korea summit, Africa in South Korea. Africa yese yanga iri kuti kwakasangana ikoko takakwanisa kuona ukana kutaura napresident weku-South Korea chiwirirana anotitsigira zvikuru sei kunyaya dzekurima dzeagriculture vakatinimbisa kuti vanozotibatsira neexpertise kuti simudzire kurima kwedu agriculture yedu asi Africa yose maheads of state emaAfrica tanga tiriko ikoko. Saikwanisa kuona mukana wekuona head of state umwe naumwe tichitaurana relationship dzedu. Saka tine ukama hwakanaka neSouth Korea. Zvikuru sei napresident wacho anotifarira chaizvo ndofunga trade fair yedu yegore rinouya vakavimbisa kuti vachange vachauya vakakwana.
He also gave an update on his trip to Russia, where he had productive discussions with President Vladimir Putin.
Taura nawo hedikoko nokusimudzira kubatana nokuwirirana hatina nhamo zvachose. Anoti haiwa zvingava zvichitagwa nedzimwe nyika pamusoro peRussia ndezvavo. Russia neZimbabwe takabva kure, hatirambe takabatana. Zvamunoda zvose tinokutsigirai. Takakumira masikolashipu akawanda nemhando dzakawanda takapuhwa. Vanyanetsekera zvakare nyaya dzeSpace Agency. Saka akati ndokutsigirai kwese ikoko.
President Mnangagwa was received at the airport by Vice President Comrade Kembo Mohadi, service chiefs and senior government officials. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
Government leaders, water experts and stakeholders are meeting in Tajikistan for the 3rd Dushanbe Water Action Decade Conference.
The conference, co-organized by the government of Tajikistan and the United Nations from Monday the 10th of June to the 13th, will tackle the pressing issue of sustainable water management.
Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, who is leading the Zimbabwean delegation, was met at the Dushanbe International Airport by the Deputy Prime Minister of Tajikistan, Mr. Usmonali Usmonsoda. Vice President Chiwenga emphasized the importance of water management, citing the effects of climate change and the need for international cooperation.
We have come for the water conference. As you are aware that This year in March, there was a conference on water where even a proposal to have an undersecretary for water because of the climate change was recommended to the United Nations Secretary General that it be established. Water is now becoming a very scarce commodity, and each and every country has got to make sure that you have enough water.
Over the years, Zimbabwe and Tajikistan have maintained diplomatic relations with a focus on economic diplomacy and shared interests as developing countries.
Tajikistan helped us for the liberation of Zimbabwe during our struggle for our independence when it was part of the Soviet Union. But now it's now an independent country, but we wanted to maintain our relations. And as the president has already pronounced, espoused that we are going to engage and re-engage, and so we will engage in all areas, economic, which is our fundamental priority number one, economic diplomacy, and we want to see what we can tap from Tajikistan and what we can share.
Water is a constitutional right and is central to the development agenda of Zimbabwe in line with Vision 2030. The participation of Zimbabwe at this conference is therefore aimed at advancing the efforts on national initiatives to provide clean water and sanitation services to every Zimbabwean. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Dushanbe.
The industry in Manicaland is on a rebound, with a number of existing companies recapitalizing while new entities are being opened.
The reindustrialization drive being spearheaded by the Second Republic is yielding positive results, with the industry in Mutare on a rebound after being affected by the illegal sanctions imposed on the country by the West over 2 decades ago. A Mutare-based local steel products producer Invictus Steel Africa, which produces building materials in large quantities, is not only on an expansion drive but is eyeing the export market.
Our vision is we continue to grow. We've got 20 different product lines that are still part of our value chain that we want to input. It's part of our expansion program for the local market and the region. And so we're excited to venture into this, and it's part of our 10-year plan for growth. We have already started our pursuit in terms of exports. We needed to cover some regulatory requirements, which we have, and now we are working on engaging the market itself and understanding some of the mechanisms of that space.
Manicaland Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Advocate Mishek Mugadza, who told the company premises, says the rebound of the industry in Mutare will have a positive impact towards the provincial gross domestic product, GDP, and the economy in general.
For a long time, a number of our industries have been on the low side. Things have not been moving the way we expect, but it is a totally different thing, especially after the coming in of the new dispensation, where you now find that we are having machinery of high magnitude in the industries and things moving on in stride. The GDP of Manicaland is bound to treble, I tell you, at this rate.
The Second Republic is pushing for the recapitalization of industry for economic growth as outlined in the National Development Strategy 1. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Mutare.
Bravura Mining Company, which is working on a lithium processing plant in Kamativi, has unveiled a huge platinum mining project in the Selu area along the Great Dyke.
As Zimbabwe's mining sector continues on a growth trajectory, Bravura has extended its portfolio through mining operations in Selu. Government believes the latest move will contribute significantly to the sector's target of a $40 billion United States dollar industry by 2030.
They have all the equipment they need to do underground mining. It's waiting for transportation into Zimbabwe, and then they've done the exploration at the site, as soon as the equipment lands into Zimbabwe, most probably they'll start mining. We have not yet been given timelines of when they can start, but it's a promising project to be one of the big players in the platinum mining for Zimbabwe.
Bravura revealed that its investment is mainly targeted at exploiting platinum through underground mining.
We have, I'm showing you 4 fleets of mechanized mining equipment, where we have 4 bolters, 4 rigs, 4 dump trucks, and 4 LHTs. These ones will allow us to do high-level mining.
The latest development comes at a time when Zimbabwe has become a fertile haven of investments in the mining sector. Mhlomuli Ncube, SADC News, Johannesburg.
The SADC Heads of State and Government Summit set for August in Zimbabwe has emerged as a catalyst for development, with a number of sectors benefiting in various ways.
All roads lead to Zimbabwe in August this year for the regional annual meeting, where President Emmerson Mnangagwa will take over the SADC chairmanship. As preparations for the summit continue, the country is set to benefit in terms of infrastructure development and job creation, while other sectors such as tourism are set to reap huge. On the infrastructure development side, the country is already benefiting through the upgrading of airports, roads, hotels, and conference facilities. The country has already created temporary and permanent job opportunities in various sectors, including hospitality, transportation, and event management, blending well with government's aspiration of employment creation. In line with the Second Republic's engagement and re-engagement policy, the summit will enhance the country's reputation and credibility, potentially attracting more investment. The SADC Heads of State and Government Summit will ultimately provide opportunities to exchange notes on developmental issues and ways of enhancing regional integration for member states to grow their economies. Tarai Maduyu, ZBC News, Harare.
The Judicial Service Commission is set to celebrate its 14th anniversary with an open day for the public on Monday. We get the details to that report from Fungai Jachi.
The 10th of June has become an important day on the JSC calendar as the Commission celebrates its rebirth. This year's commemorations will be an opportunity for the JSC to celebrate notable achievements recorded over the past 14 years, which include decentralizing the court system.
For the past 14 years, as JSC, we managed to construct quite a number of courts. I think over that court stations that we've managed to construct in the period starting from 2010. We have also managed to introduce the digitalization of courts. All our superior courts, as we speak, they are now digital, and we are now moving into the 4th phase, which is the digitalization of the magistrates' courts.
As part of the celebrations, the JSC will host an open day, which will provide a platform for the Commission to interact with the public for knowledge exchange.
We take this as an opportunity to interact with the public, our stakeholders, sharing them on the court operations, celebrating our success stories and milestones.
The open day will be held at all courthouses across the country. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa's medical outreach program in Kotwa came to an end this Friday, with people from across the depth and breadth of the country benefiting from free medical services.
Closed this Friday for the First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa's 3-day medical outreach program in Kotwa, which sought to address several health ailments and to provide for the needy. Around 8,000 people from 18 wards in UMP, 19 wards Mudzi, 6 wards in Mutoko, 8 chiefs, pregnant women, the elderly, the disabled received toys, blankets and food hampers, among others. The major highlight was 30 clinics and hospitals in the province which received medication, patient care items, blankets, uniforms, staff uniforms, walking aids, bed linen, among others. The leader of the American team, Eric Rose, handed over medical equipment to Mashonaland East Provincial Medical Director Dr. Fungai Machimbo to be distributed to the 30 clinics in Mash East and Mudzi Hospital. One of the beneficiaries of the initiative is Gogo Jane Yamare, who lost her leg at infancy due to polio and has been rescued through T-padding, prosthesis shoe and walking framework courtesy of the First Lady's program.
Ndakarwara ini ndakaita polio ndichiri mdiki ndatenda chaizvo nekubatsirwa kwandaita inini.
For Tinotenda Karipichi, the presence of the First Lady became life transforming after she facilitated specialist assessment of burns she suffered. Tinotenda has been suffering after her mother failed to assist her to get medication, as reviewed by Dr. Jed Morton.
Had burns about 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. She has multiple burns on her arms, her legs, upper face. Some of them didn't heal very well. And then she hasn't moved for quite a bit, has really big pressure sores. So we had to take care of all the burns, and then we took care of all the pressure sores.
She is one of the many who have testimonies of the importance of this program.
Tabatsirwa nekuti chitarisa mitsara yatanga tinayo nezuro nemitsara yatinayo nhasi zvikuratidza kuti vanhu vabatsirwa.
Tauya pano ndino chirongwa chokuti ndibatsirwe musana nomakumbo nomuchest nomusoro. Ndikunzwa kufara nokuti ndabatsirwa kupuhwa mushonga unobatsira zvese izvozvo.
Tadaisa kenza zvakanaka uye tabatwa zvakanaka tagutsikana nazvo mataisiro takaitwa tikaratidzwa maresults acho.
The medical outreach administered by the Angel of Hope, together with a team of US medical experts, involves dental care, cancer screening, scanning, optometry, among others. Among those offering the services is 13-year-old Chloe Justice, whose passion for serving the less privileged saw her accompanying her parents to the rural communities, testimony that the impact of the program cuts across the geographical boundaries.
I've just learned that even the slightest of helping people can really change their life.
The medical outreach programs are part of the First Lady's philanthropic works that have had an impact on lives of the less privileged communities. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Mudzi.
Let's get more news from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo, where Arthur is on standby. Good evening, Arthur.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, and to the team at Pockets, who will continue with more good news in the form of an encouragement. Churches have been encouraged to step out of their traditional roles and embrace enterprise as a tool for economic development.
Houses of worship have been advised to leverage their resources and missions to create businesses that address community needs while generating sustainable income. This came out during the recognition of the work that a local church leader in Ibla is doing in uplifting the community.
They should preach the gospel of progress, making sure that they inspire their congregants to be entrepreneurs, to take the spirit of entrepreneurship, to participate in development programs that government comes up with.
Most of the churches, they've trained their people. A lot of women, a lot of youth, organized by different churches. They've benefited from skills training offered by the Ministry of Women's Affairs, offered by the First Lady, offered by the Ministry of Youth. Quite a number of people have benefited, because we strongly believe no one should be left behind.
The clergy emphasized the importance of churches in aligning with government economic development-driven policies.
We need to work together again with the government of Zimbabwe for the sustainability of the country.
Abantu bayenza ama-projects. Siyakhuthaza ukuthi ensontweni abantu babe lama projects yakufuya inkukhu, ukuchaya izitina, ukupheka, okwehlukeneyo okungaletha imali bengakhangeleli ukuphiwa kuphela kodwa basebenzi.
The model of churches as social enterprises could become a significant driver of positive change in the nation's economic landscape and attainment of Vision 2030. Yolanda Moy, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Our focus remains on churches, and instead of what they should be doing, what they actually are doing. Local indigenous churches under the Zimbabwe Indigenous Interdenominational Council of Churches have embarked on a program to educate youths on the dangers of drug and substance abuse as part of efforts to end the scourge.
In response to calls by government for a concerted fight against drug and substance abuse, the churches descended on Danga Growth Point in Berengwa Central for the launch of the provincial drug and substance abuse campaign. Dubbed Let Us Rise and Build, the campaign received a buy-in from the community.
I have been in rehab for 1 year, 3 months. And I have been rehabilitated. I am a survivor of this abuse.
The local leadership spoke on the importance of working in unison in the fight.
Let us join hands, minds, hearts, and voices together in Christ to build and strengthen our nation.
Representing Minister of Defense Honorable Opam Chinguri Kashiri, Professor Paul Mavima implored youths to desist from abusing drugs and seize opportunities availed to them.
We should be one of the best countries in the world in terms of the standard of living for our people. That comes with a population educated, healthy. That's how we can get the so-called demographic dividend.
Over the years, the church has been instrumental in promoting peace and nation building, and it is expected to continue playing a key role in ending the drug and substance abuse scourge.
The well-being of children of multiple birth came under the spotlight in Zambia, where Twins Association of Zimbabwe founders met their peers to deliberate on various issues, chief among them the education of such children.
Every single life, every single child is a reward and blessing from God. But when the journey ends with not one, but multiple children at one go, some families have challenges coping. Some of the encounters that affect these mothers start as early as birth, when feeding 2 or more babies, clothing and educating them, as every role comes in 2s or more.
Ndiri pano apa ndine 5 sets of twins. So kune ma challenges akawanda tinosangana nawo. Pamwe uchawana kwai vana vako hakuna zvekudya, hakuna zvekupfeka, hakuna zvekuti vaende kuchikoro zvakanaka. Vanokoniwa chekuti uswangane nadzo kuti uwane mari yekuti ukwanise izvozvo kuti vana vako vakure zvakanaka.
From the childhood up to the age where we are, there are some challenges which they do face, especially when you have got two twins. You find that maybe the mother, by sleeping, doesn't sleep well because of the challenges which we always face.
African countries under Southern African Development Committee of Twins Association SADC are joining forces to address the plight of mothers and children from multiple births, with a satellite school for twins being commissioned in Kanyama, Zambia.
As twins, we saw it fit that we can do something to the many groups of young people that are twins who are not going to school, and hence we make this contribution to this community.
We have passed through a lot in our journey of twins. So we thought of forming this organization of twins so that we support our fellow twins.
The SADC co-chairpersons, Farai and Tendai Katona, who commissioned the school, added that their goal is to address the plight of children of multiple births.
SADC Twins Association, we are going to approach and employ all technical measures so that any twin and multiple birth will never suffer again. And twins, as well as the SADC Twins, is not going to be the same again, it's going to improve.
The association paid a courtesy call on Zimbabwe's representative in Zambia, Ambassador Charity Charamba, who commended the association for the life-changing initiative.
But at times you see triplets or whatever, they are always looking out for donors to support them. So this is a brilliant idea and a brilliant initiative. Yeah. And I'm also grateful that our own government is also taking you on board and they are assisting in terms of education.
In the past year, government has provided education assistance through the Basic Education Assistance Module BEAM to more than 3,000 vulnerable offspring of multiple births in Zimbabwe in order to leave no one behind in education. Patience Nyagato, SADC News, Lusaka.
From Zambia, we take a more continental look in our I'm an African feature. Buchi Emecheta is one of the most celebrated African authors in history, with at least 20 publications to her name. In our I'm an African feature, our reporter John Nandara traces the history of Emecheta, who is considered one of the pioneers of female African authors.
The history of African authors is not complete without mentioning Buchi Emecheta, a Nigerian novelist who has published over 20 books. Born in 1944 in Lagos, Nigeria, Buchi Emecheta is considered one of the most prominent female African writers, celebrated for her novels chronicling the experiences of African women in Nigeria and abroad. She married at the age of 16 and moved with her husband and 2 young children to London in 1962. Emecheta pursued her own education career after she had divorced with her husband in London with 5 children. In London, she worked as a librarian at the British Museum, studied sociology at London University, became a community worker in Camden, and began writing stories that were based on her life and published them in New Statesman magazine. Emecheta has written and published over 20 works, from novels to plays, each of which delves into the complexities of what it means to be a woman and a mother in societies where morals and traditions are constantly changing. The Joys of Motherhood is one of Emecheta's most pivotal and well-known works, giving criticism on colonialism, tradition, and women's roles and how they affect one woman, new ego, and her family. Apart from The Joys of Motherhood, some of the notable books that Emecheta published include Second Class Citizen, The Bride Price, and The Slave Girl. Emecheta's themes of child slavery, motherhood, female independence, and freedom through education won a considerable critical acclaim and honors, including an Order of the British Empire in 2005. Buchi Emecheta passed on at the age of 72 in London in the year 2017.
Nothing like a good story. Speaking of stories, we have more stories for you on the other side of the break. My name is Arthur C. Evans for the Montrose News Desk. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
You are still watching Sunday Edition. Thank you for staying with us in our This and That feature tonight. Vendors in Chipinge have found a creative way of clearing their stock after coming up with an open market on the 2nd of every month. Let's hear more from Tamuka Charakopa.
On the 2nd day of each month, vendors drawn from across Chipinge district and beyond converge at Ratusuk Estate, located on the borderline with Mozambique, to sell a wide range of products. Popularly known by its moniker, Kwatu, the day is arguably the busiest of the month in as far as the vendors are concerned. It is typically an open exchange marketplace which also attracts customers from neighboring Mozambique who are referred to as Masebe in their vending circles.
Tanganda iri muboda saka vanhu vokumozambique vaisenza mutanganda vachibva pamhiri apo vari kuzimbabwewo vaisenza munomu saka zvaitika ndozvokuti vaipiwa mari mwedzi wapera mwedzi wavo waipera musi wa2 ndio pawaipiwa mari. Saka madhesi iwayo vanhu vaingouya vachitengesa kubva kudhara nokunga zvatova nekuma 25 years zvichiitika izvo. Saka chiri kachoti vanhu vekumozambique vanouya vachitobvumidzwa vone vanokondora bhodha kuno kuzimbabwe nevaikoko kuti vapfuure, vanouya vachihodhesawo zvinhu zvavo zvimwe vachitengawo vachienda nazvo.
Barter trade is still alive if what goes on at the marketplace is anything to go by.
Musi wa2 izuva rakatongomira riri redhei remarketing ratinouya kuzotengesa tichitsvaga kuraramisa mhuri. Panapa tinoita zvese, barter trade tinoita, pamwe pacho totobvawo nebhinzi tatochinjanisa totoendawo nemuriwo kumba.
Barter trade itoripo yakawandisa. Kuti umwe unouyawo nechimwe chaanouyawo nacho, vamwe vane sipo, vamwe vanouya nemanachisi, vamwe vanouya nemavheji. Tongoita barter trade.
The initiative is also a profitable venture according to vendors who look forward to the second of each month with enthusiasm.
Musi wa2 tinotofarira nokuti ndokwatinoonawo mari. Ana masebe anenge achiuya vakatengesa zvibhinzi, saka vatova tinenge tichitoti ndo mangezi edu anenge eikwanisa kutipawo mari.
Kamari ketinoonawo musi wa2 kanenge kakasiyana nekatinoona everyday. Makastoma anenge akatiwandira.
As if to confirm, and I quote, necessity is the mother of all invention, the vendors from Chipinge have come up with this innovative way to meet their demands. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Chipinge.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll make sure next time I visit Chipinge, I'll work it around the second of whatever month that will be. And we'll now shift our focus to our Sunbiz. Up next. Zimbabwe's mining industry is confident of further growth in production after hitting a 90% capacity utilization from 84% last year.
A report by the Zimbabwe Chamber of Mines presented at the organization's annual general meeting, AGM, held recently shows that the recovery in global prices have raised optimism in the growth of the sector. A combination of a stable domestic currency, power supplies, and economic performance are being cited by the report as key indicators for growth, with the review of production trends showing that the industry has hit a 90% capacity utilization. The sector is forging ahead with the commissioning of new plants, exploration and reopening of closed units. Chamber of Mines Survey leader researcher Professor Albert Makoche-Kanwa revealed that the industry's growth trajectory mode is on track.
We found that on average capacity utilization was 90%, but even for PMGs they were 100%. So even the expectation this year 2024, it's expected that the average will be at least 90%. It's very much achievable in the sense that, especially now, after the introduction of ZIG, we have found that everything is stable in terms of prices, local prices, and also in terms of the exchange rate. So even those mining companies now, they are easily planning their economic activities. Both things have stabilized.
Zimbabwe's mining sector is pinning hopes for increased production on gold, platinum, diamonds, lithium, and chrome, among other minerals. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
The Education 5.0 model and the heritage-based education framework are bearing fruit, with a student from Gwanda having developed a hydraulic-powered excavator.
Siwasebenzisayo ucontrol i-arm yethu, and then le system designer like lever yokuthena emaceleni lokuphenduka emuva, since isaswela i-DC motor eyayikwanisa ukuthi it-turn 360 degrees, so we ended up using the hydraulic system futhi ekumuveni eceleni lokuphenduka.
One can feel the passion and drive that Webster Tadiwanashe Sinamane has as he speaks with conviction on his invention. Form 6 student from Gwanda High School speaks of his excavator like it is the next big thing on the market. Having realized that municipal workers and miners in Gwanda do not have adequate machinery to dig trenches, the young enthusiast came up with a plan.
I-community yethu siyabona kule problem eyokuthi
kuyatholakala kusiba ngumsebenzi omkhulu kakhulu ohlala isikhathi ekuthini kulungiswe ama-sewage system, ama-sewage system, and then even ukugejwa kwama-trench, plus igwanda i-rich when it comes to ama-minerals. So kade ngokukhangelela kwami ama-excavator lawa ayancedisa even kuma-mining industries, and then ayancedisa njalo kuma-construction of imigwaqo.
Young Webster's exploits are all thanks to the heritage-based education model meant to encourage innovation and industrialization.
I-curriculum introduced eZimbabwe Education 5.0 yasincedisa ukuba senelise sibe innovative, sikwanisa ukuba ncedisa ukwakha ilizwe lethu silakha ngendlela ezihlukeneyo, njengokuba sincedisa lapho kuyabe sibona khona kulama challenges ekusebenzeni, si modify izinto ngama innovation.
The hydraulic excavator is powered by syringes of water, an external battery, and a gearbox. With more support, Webster believes the innovation could change the face of mining and the construction sector in the country. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
And that's our look at the world of innovation and science. And we now take a break. We'll be back shortly with the latest buzz in sport. Stay with us.
Give every morning the smart start it deserves with your favorite homegrown breakfast cereal. Nestle Ceravita. Fortified with Grain Smart, a smart combination of ions, vitamins and minerals. Your family gets all the energy they need to make the most of every day. That's why every morning deserves a smart start. Nestle Ceravita. Highly nutritious, simply delicious.
Welcome back. Zimbabwean long-distance runners put on an impressive performance at the 97th edition of the Comrades Marathon in South Africa this Sunday, after two of them made it into the top 10.
It was a good outing for Zimbabwe's long-distance runners at the Comrades Marathon this Sunday, with Nobukosi Chuma finishing 5th in the women's race, while Givmo Madzinganyama was 10th in the men's category. Chuma was the best-seeded Zimbabwean, crossing the finishing line of the 85-kilometer race in 6 hours, 12 minutes and 18 seconds, which was 22 minutes, 31 seconds off the winner, Geda Stein, out of 3,000 female participants. Loveness Madziva also made the top 15 in the ladies category, completing the run in just 6 hours, 34 minutes and 27 seconds, while ZBC camera person Nyasha Marira completed the race in 9 hours, 57 minutes and 54 seconds. Madzinganyama was the peak of the male runners for Zimbabwe, clocking 5 hours, 37 minutes and 9 seconds, some 12 minutes, 9 seconds short of the race winner from Netherlands, Piet Visma, who clocked the fastest time to become the first Dutch runner to win the annual marathon. Lino Muchenwa and Libert Malabwa also impressed, finishing in the men's top 50, while Prince Chiposiwa, Brendan Chuma and Pilani Ngomo made the top 100 out of more than 14,000 athletes. For years, Zimbabweans have tussled with the world's best at the annual marathon race, with Stephen Mujingi being the only Zimbabwean to win the largest and oldest ultramarathon in the world, which attracts over 18,000 athletes from around the globe. Mujingi also has another record to his name, as he won the race for 3 consecutive years between 2009 and 2011. This year's edition attracted 332 Zimbabweans, a significant improvement from just more than 200 who participated at the event last year.
Now shifting our focus to soccer, where the Warriors are now in Bloemfontein ahead of Tuesday evening's do-or-die showdown with Bafana Bafana at the Free State Stadium. The team had a training session this evening. Divine Lunga is nursing an ankle injury, which is a concern ahead of the game, while Ngezi Platinum Stars midfielder Richard Hachiro has since joined the squad.
ZDF Queens were at their best this Saturday as they recorded emphatic triplet victories in the Premier Netball League to shoot to the top of the log standings during the Harare bubble at Stoddard Complex.
It was duty executed to perfection this weekend for the ZDF Queens, who had a commanding outing this Saturday to overtake fellow Army side Black Rhinos at the top of the PNL standings. ZDF Queens opened the day's account winning by a margin of 47 points in a 75-28 victory over Harare District. The victory was just the beginning of better things for the ambitious Army side, who went on to dismantle 7 Flames 111-16 in their second match. They were not done yet as they sealed a perfect outing after humiliating Marondera 88-17, emerging as the best performer in the Harare bubble this weekend. JTI Flyers and Harare City also enjoyed a perfect day as they clinched maximum points from their 2 matches. JTI Flyers beat Marondera 59-19 in their opening encounter, while Harare City outshined 7 Flames 44-28 in their opening match. The two sides sealed a 100% record as JTI Flyers Academy kept the day off with a 44-28 victory, while Harare City were unlucky to get away with a 30-27 victory against Mutare City. A struggling Mutare City picked one victory from the weekend as they took advantage of Marondera's 46-20 victory over their opponents after losing 52-42 against Waterfalls. Harare District had a tough weekend as they let loose their form to finish the weekend winless, choking to 2 defeats as they fell 1 score short of the Stormers in a closely fought 40-39 loss. It was the same fate for 7 Flames, who lost out to Harare City and Stormers in their 2 matches. Reynaud Ngwarati, ZBC News, Harare.
The Zimbabwe women's team is in Nairobi, Kenya for the Billie Jean King Cup Africa Group 3 tournament, which gets underway this Monday.
Tennis Zimbabwe selected 6 talented athletes to represent the country at the Billie Jean King Cup that will run from the 10th to the 15th of this month. The 6-member team comprises Sasha Chimedza, Rufaro Magarira, Tadewa Nashemauchi, Tanyara Zwamidzi, Kudzaishe Chapepa, and team captain Lee Batunzula. The players are ready for the tournament after participating at African Games, ITF circuit tournaments, and US collegiate tennis events. Zimbabwe had a tough outing in the previous edition where they were 4th. The team is, however, determined to perform better at the tournament, which has 12 other countries including Namibia, South Africa, Tunisia, Nigeria, Uganda, Burundi, Ghana, Madagascar, Mauritius, Morocco, Botswana, and host Kenya. Anna Shemurambedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
A government has challenged sports administrators to demonstrate exemplary leadership and play a critical role in shaping the image of the country.
25 sports administrators who successfully completed an International Olympic Committee diploma in sports management graduated in Harare this Saturday. Speaking at the graduation ceremony of the Advanced Sports Management course Intech 17 at the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee offices, Honorable Josiah stressed the importance of good leadership in achieving excellence.
Sport organizations must be well run, have leaders and administrators who offer the finest knowledge and strategies, behave morally and in the best interest of players and stakeholders as a whole, and function in order to successfully provide sport in our communities.
Notable figures included SRC Director General Elton Ngomasha, ZBC Classic 263 radio presenter Monica Chanda, and Dak Villion from Zimbabwe Cricket, who emerged as the best student. Lee Kumalo from Equestrian was recognized as the most improved student. Honorable Jesai encouraged the graduates to utilize acquired knowledge and skills to drive a positive change in their respective organization, inspiring a culture of excellence and integrity. The Deputy Minister's call to action resonated with the graduates who are now equipped to make a meaningful impact in Zimbabwe's sports landscape. Anna Shemrombedzi, ZBC News, Hanare.
And now from sport, we dive straight into showbiz, where Killer T's Kanandanyura remains the most popular song in the country after holding on to pole position on the Power FM chart show this week.
Man of the Moment by Ateta Chinks featuring Prince Davoka is this week's biggest climber, moving 15 places up the charts from 29th to number 14 this week. Unfortunately for Black Motion, his song Takala was not so appealing this week after dropping 21 places to number 39 from 18 last week. There were 5 new entries, including Delroy Shewe's Gumpepe, which was in position 29, and a collaborative act by Dr. Chai and Toki Vibes, Happy, which was 24th. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
That's all we had for you tonight. Thank you for having joined us from our Montrose crew. The crew behind the scenes, Noble Maumbo on the sign language desk, myself, Yvonne Mukandani.
And Joyce Mabika will leave you watching our video of the week, and it's Where I'm Going by Gemma Griffiths. Enjoy.
Good night.
Yave nguva yekudya kwemangwanani kwakakosha nesiriel yenyu yamunofarira inogadzirwa muno muZimbabwe. Nestle Cerevita izere neutano unosanganisira iron, mavitamins nemaminerals zvinopa simba zuva rese. Saka zvakakosha kutanga zuva zvine ungwaru. Nestle Cerevita, highly nutritious, simply delicious.
Good day, Zimbabwe, and welcome to yet another broadcast. My name is Constance Mazirisa, and right now we are joined by the Honorable Deputy Minister in the Ministry of National Housing and Social Amenities, Deputy Minister Honorable Y. Simbanikavi, and she's going to be taking us through the national housing development and also some of the investments in the ministry. Honorable Deputy Minister, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, let us